My chosen one, something is shifting in your world right now, and this is not a message you found by accident. There is a divine urgency surrounding your life at this very moment, and if you can feel that stirring deep within your spirit, it is because heaven is calling your attention. On July 12th, a sacred encounter is being prepared for you. Archangel Michael himself stands at the threshold of your new season, and in his hand is a flaming sword, not of destruction, but of divine release. This is the moment that will separate who you were from who you are becoming. You have carried things for far too long, burdens you were never meant to hold, attachments that quietly drained your energy, invisible cords that have tied you to people, memories, and seasons that God has already called you out of. And here is the shocking truth: some of these cords were never meant to follow you into your future. Yet they have lingered, hidden beneath the surface, influencing your decisions, your emotions, and even your sense of worth. But hear this clearly: that ends now. This is not just another day. July 12th is a spiritual line drawn in the sand. It is a divine interruption, a moment where heaven steps in and says, "Enough." Archangel Michael is not standing passively. He is standing with authority, with fire, and with purpose. The flaming sword he carries is not symbolic alone. It represents the power of God to cut through every lie, every delay, every unseen force that has tried to keep you bound. You may not have seen these cords with your physical eyes, but you have felt them. You have felt the weight of cycles repeating, the frustration of moving forward only to feel pulled back again. You have questioned why certain doors closed without explanation, why certain relationships shifted without warning, why your spirit felt restless even when everything seemed fine on the surface. This is why there had been a hidden resistance against your progress, not because you are unworthy, but because you are chosen. And when you are chosen, the battle often happens in places you cannot see. But what has been hidden is now being exposed. What has been holding you back is now being confronted. And this is where everything changes. Because when Archangel Michael steps in, things do not remain the same. His presence marks a turning point. His sword does not hesitate. It cuts with precision, with divine wisdom, removing only what no longer belongs in your life. Even if it feels sudden, even if it feels intense, it is necessary. Because what God has prepared for you cannot be reached while you are still tied to what was never meant to go with you. You are standing at the edge of something greater than you realize. A new season is opening, one filled with clarity, peace, and abundance. But you cannot carry the past into this place. And that is why this moment is so critical. This is not loss, this is liberation. So prepare your heart. Pay attention to what begins to shift around you. Listen closely to what your spirit is trying to tell you. Because this is the beginning of a divine cutting, a holy release, and a powerful transformation that will position you exactly where you are meant to be. The threshold is before you. The sword is raised, and heaven is about to move. There is something sacred about standing at a threshold. It is not just a moment. It is a dividing line between what has been and what is about to be revealed. And right now, whether you fully realize it or not, you are standing in that exact place. July 12th is not simply another date on a calendar. It is a gateway, a spiritual crossing point where one chapter of your life is closing and another is being unlocked with divine intention. A threshold is never comfortable. It carries a strange tension within it, the pull of the past and the call of the future happening at the same time. You may have already felt this tension in recent days. Moments where you felt unsure, unsettled, or even emotionally overwhelmed without clear reason. One part of you has been trying to hold on to what feels familiar, while another part of you senses that something greater is calling you forward. This inner conflict is not confusion. It is confirmation that you are in transition. You are not where you used to be, but you are not fully where you are meant to be yet. That in-between space can feel heavy. It can feel like waiting, like silence, like nothing is happening. But in the spiritual realm, everything is moving with precision. God does not bring you to a threshold without purpose. There is always something waiting on the other side, something prepared long before you even knew to ask for it. And here is what you must understand. Thresholds require decisions. They are moments where you cannot carry everything with you. You cannot step fully into your new season while holding tightly to the remnants of your old one. This is why it feels so intense. This is why emotions may rise unexpectedly. This is why certain things in your life may begin to feel out of place, even if they once felt right. It is not because you are losing your way. It is because your path is being refined. July 12th marks a spiritual alignment that has been building behind the scenes of your life. Every delay, every redirection, every moment that felt like a setback was actually positioning you for this exact moment. Nothing was wasted. Even the pain you experienced carried a hidden purpose. It prepared your heart to recognize this threshold when it appeared. And now that you are here, something within you is being asked to shift. Not forcefully, not out of fear, but through awareness. You are being invited to release control and trust that what lies ahead is greater than anything you are leaving behind. This is not about abandoning your past. It is about no longer being defined by it. You may wonder what exactly is waiting for you beyond this threshold. The truth is, He is more than a single blessing. It is a new way of living, a new level of clarity, a new depth of peace that does not depend on circumstances. It is the beginning of walking in alignment with what God has already spoken over your life. But before you can fully step into that, there must be a separation, a moment where the past loosens its grip and the future begins to take form. This is why Archangel Michael stands at this threshold, not just as a witness, but as a guardian of this transition. His presence ensures that what belongs to your next season is protected, and what does not belong is removed. So if you feel like something is shifting within you, do not resist it. If certain things no longer feel right, do not force them to stay. If you feel a quiet pull toward something new, do not ignore it. These are not random feelings. They are signals that you are standing exactly where you are meant to be. The threshold is not the end of something. It is the beginning of everything that has been waiting for you. There is something you must now see with spiritual clarity, because this is where many people remain stuck without even realizing why. The cords of the past are real. They are not just memories or emotions. They are spiritual connections, invisible ties that link your present to moments, people, and experiences that have already served their purpose. And until those cords are cut, they continue to influence your life in ways that feel subtle, yet powerful. These cords are formed through deep emotional bonds, unresolved pain, repeated patterns, and even words spoken over your life that you unknowingly carried as truth. Every time you held on to something that God was asking you to release, a cord remained. Every time you revisited a wound instead of allowing it to heal, the connection stayed alive. And over time, these cords became weights, quietly pulling you back just when you tried to move forward. You may have noticed this pattern without having the words for it. You start to rise. You feel motivated. You see glimpses of something better ahead. And then suddenly, something shifts. Old thoughts return. Old fears resurface. Old attachments reappear. It feels like a cycle you cannot break, no matter how hard you try. This is not a lack of effort. This is the effect of cords that were never fully severed. But this is where divine intervention steps in. Archangel Michael is not present at your threshold by coincidence. He is here because he carries the authority to confront what you cannot see and remove what you cannot remove on your own. His flaming sword is not just a symbol. It is an instrument of truth. It cuts through illusion. It breaks false attachments. It releases you from what has been holding you without your permission. And here is the deeper truth. Some of these cords are connected to things you once needed. Relationships that once comforted you. Situations that once protected you. Versions of yourself that help you survive. But what once served you is not meant to define you forever. There comes a moment where holding on becomes more harmful than letting go. This is that moment. The reason this process feels intense is because cords are not always obvious. They hide behind familiarity. They disguise themselves as loyalty, comfort, or even love. You may feel resistance rising within you, questioning whether you are ready to release certain things. You may feel a quiet fear of what life will look like without them. But understand this: anything that is truly meant for you will never need to bind you in order to stay. What Archangel Michael is doing now is not taking something from you. He is restoring your freedom. The cutting of these cords may show up in different ways. You may feel a sudden clarity about a situation you were once confused about. You may feel emotionally distant from something that once consumed your thoughts. You may even experience unexpected endings or shifts that seem abrupt. Do not mistake this for loss. This is alignment. Because every cord that is cut creates space. Space for peace. Space for truth. Space for the abundance that has been waiting for you beyond these attachments. And here is what you must hold on to in this moment. This process is guided. It is precise. Nothing is being removed without purpose. Every cut made by that flaming sword is intentional, clearing the path ahead of you so you can walk forward without resistance. So do not cling to what is being released. Do not try to reconnect what heaven is disconnecting. Trust the process, even if it feels unfamiliar. Because what is happening right now is something many never allow themselves to experience. A full and complete release from the weight of the past. Type "I am free from the past" in the comments if you feel this message deep within your spirit. Blessing code 9137 has just been activated over your life. And as this divine cutting takes place, hear this with an open heart. There are others who are still bound, still searching, still waiting for a message like this to reach them. When you choose to support this mission, you are not simply giving. You are helping break chains in the lives of people you may never meet. The word declares, "Give, and it will be given to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." This is not just a verse. It is a living promise being spoken over you right now. I feel led to say this. As I release, I also sow into freedom for others. Let that become your action in this moment. Your seed becomes light in someone else's darkness. Your obedience becomes someone else's breakthrough. There is a PayPal link in the description and a QR code within this space. Step into this moment with boldness. Do not delay what your spirit is prompting you to do. As you give, may every cord of lack be cut from your life, and may abundance begin to flow toward you in ways you did not expect. You are not just witnessing this message, you are part of its purpose. There is a reason the image of a flaming sword has been placed before you in this moment, and it is not meant to bring fear, it is meant to awaken understanding. Fire, in the divine sense, is never random. It purifies, it reveals, and it transforms. And the sword held by Archangel Michael carries all three of these powers at once. It is not simply cutting. It is refining your life with precision that only heaven can orchestrate. You must understand this clearly. The sword does not act in chaos. It moves with intention. Every motion, every cut, every separation is guided by divine wisdom that sees far beyond what your natural eyes can perceive. Where you see confusion, heaven sees clarity. Where you feel loss, heaven sees alignment. And where you hesitate, heaven already knows what must be released for your next season to begin. This is why the process can feel both powerful and uncomfortable at the same time. Because the sword does not only remove what is obvious, it reaches into the deeper layers of your life. It touches areas you may have avoided, truths you may have softened, attachments you may have justified. It exposes what has been hidden beneath the surface, not to harm you, but to free you completely. Partial freedom is not the goal. Complete liberation is. And that kind of transformation requires honesty. There are things in your life that may have felt right simply because they were familiar. Patterns you accepted because they were repeated long enough to feel normal. Even thoughts about yourself that you carried for years without questioning their origin. The flaming sword confronts all of it. It separates truth from illusion. It divides what is real from what has only appeared real. This is why some moments in this process may feel sharp. You may suddenly recognize something that no longer aligns with who you are becoming. You may feel a strong urge to step away from situations that once felt secure. You may even experience a quiet grief, not because something good is being taken, but because something familiar is being removed. And familiarity can be difficult to release, even when it is no longer meant for you. But hear this with clarity: what is being cut away is not part of your future. It cannot go where you are being led. If it remained, it would only create delay, confusion, or unnecessary weight in the very place where you are meant to experience freedom and abundance. So the sword moves now, not later. It acts in this moment because this is the appointed time. Archangel Michael stands firm in this process, not allowing hesitation to interfere with what must be done. His presence is both protective and decisive. He does not cut to harm. He cuts to restore order. He ensures that what remains in your life is aligned with truth, purpose, and divine timing. And as this happens, something within you begins to shift. You may feel lighter without understanding why. You may notice a sense of clarity replacing confusion. Situations that once drained you may no longer have the same hold. Even your thoughts may begin to change, becoming more aligned with peace rather than fear. This is the evidence that the sword is doing its work. Do not resist these changes. Do not question them with doubt. This is not instability. This is refinement. Because the fire within that sword is not only removing, it is also preparing. It is creating space within you for something greater to take root. You are not being left empty. You are being made ready. Ready for a level of peace you have not yet experienced. Ready for relationships that do not require you to shrink yourself. Ready for opportunities that align with who you truly are. This is why the process must be complete. Half-cut cords will still hold tension. Half-truths will still create confusion. But when the sword moves fully, there is a clean separation, a clear path, a defined shift from where you were to where you are going. So if you feel the intensity of this moment, do not turn away from it. Stand still in your spirit and allow the work to be done. Trust that every movement of that flaming sword is guided by a wisdom that knows exactly what your life needs in this season. Because what remains after this process will not be fragile or uncertain. It will be strong, aligned, and ready to support the abundance that is already on its way to you. There is a quiet resistance that often rises in moments like this, and if you are feeling it, you are not alone. It does not always appear as fear in an obvious way. Sometimes it shows up as hesitation, as overthinking, or as a sudden desire to hold on just a little longer to what feels familiar. This resistance is subtle, but it is powerful, and it has one purpose: to keep you from fully stepping into what is ahead. You must recognize it for what it is. When something is about to change at a deep level, the mind begins to search for stability. It reaches back into what it already knows, even if what it knows is no longer good for you. Familiar pain can feel safer than unknown peace. Familiar limitation can feel easier than unfamiliar growth. And this is where many people pause, not because they are not ready, but because they are afraid of what they cannot yet see. But hear this clearly: what lies ahead of you is not uncertainty. It is preparation fulfilled. The reason you are being asked to release is because something greater has already been arranged. God does not remove without replacing. He does not lead you out without already preparing where you are going. The discomfort you feel is not a warning sign to stop. It is a signal that transformation is happening. Resistance often whispers questions that seem logical on the surface. What if this does not work out? What if I lose something important? What if I regret letting go? These thoughts can feel convincing, but they are rooted in fear, not truth. Because if something is truly aligned with your purpose, it will not require you to stay bound in order to keep it. You are not being asked to lose. You are being asked to trust. And trust is not always easy when you are standing in the middle of change. It requires you to move forward without having every answer. It requires you to believe that what you cannot yet see is already in motion. This is where faith becomes real, not as a concept but as a decision. The resistance you feel is also connected to comfort. Over time, you have adapted to certain patterns, certain environments, even certain emotional states. They became part of your normal, even if they were limiting you. And now that those things are being challenged, there is a part of you that wants to return to what feels known. But comfort is not always a sign of alignment. Sometimes comfort is the very thing that keeps you from growing. It keeps you in cycles that feel manageable but never truly fulfilling. It convinces you to settle when you were created to expand. And this is why this moment is so important. Because you are being given the opportunity to step beyond what hath been comfortable and into what has been prepared. Archangel Michael stands at this point of decision, not forcing you, but guiding you. His presence strengthens you to move forward, even when resistance tries to pull you back. He does not remove your ability to choose, but he clears the path so that your choice becomes clear. And here is what you must hold on to. Every time you choose to release instead of hold on, you break the power of resistance. Every time you trust instead of fear, you move closer to your new season. This is not about perfection. It is about willingness. You do not need to have everything figured out in this moment. You do not need to see the entire path ahead. You only need to take the step that is being placed before you. And right now, that step is letting go. Let go of what you already know is no longer aligned. Let go of what drains you. Let go of what keeps you questioning your worth or your direction. These things are not part of your future, and holding on to them will only delay what is already waiting for you. This is not a moment to retreat. This is a moment to move forward with quiet confidence, even if your voice trembles, even if your heart feels uncertain. Because the truth is, your spirit already knows what is right. It has been guiding you toward this release long before this moment arrived. So when resistance rises, do not fight it with fear. Acknowledge it, but do not follow it. Choose alignment over comfort. Choose faith over familiarity. Choose the future over the past. Because what is ahead of you is not something you need to fear. It is something you have been prepared for all along. There are moments in life that cannot be explained through logic alone, moments where something shifts so deeply that you know, without doubt, that a higher power has intervened. What you are experiencing now belongs to that kind of moment. And to help you understand what is unfolding, you must see what happens when divine cutting is fully allowed to take place. There was someone who once stood exactly where you are standing now. They carried years of emotional weight, attachments that had slowly become part of their identity. They tried everything to move forward. They made plans, set goals, even prayed for change. But no matter how hard they tried, something kept pulling them back into the same patterns, the same frustrations, the same sense of being stuck. Then, without warning, everything began to shift. Relationships they thought would last suddenly ended. Opportunities they had relied on disappeared. Even their own thoughts began to change, challenging beliefs they had held for years. At first, it felt like everything was falling apart. There was confusion, even fear. They questioned what was happening and why it felt so intense. But what they did not realize in that moment was this: nothing was falling apart. Everything was being realigned. The cords that had quietly held them back were being cut. The patterns that had limited their growth were being broken. And although it felt uncomfortable, it was necessary. Because what was coming next required a version of them that was no longer bound to the past. As time passed, something unexpected began to happen. The heaviness they once carried started to lift. The confusion that clouded their mind was replaced with clarity. They began to see things differently, not through fear but through understanding. And slowly, new opportunities began to appear, opportunities that felt aligned, peaceful, and right in a way they had never experienced before. What once felt like loss revealed itself as freedom. This is the power of divine intervention. It does not always look gentle in the moment, but it is always purposeful. When Archangel Michael moves with that flaming sword, he is not reacting to your situation. He is responding to a higher plan that has already been set in motion for your life. And just like that person, you may be in the middle of your own transformation right now. You may be noticing changes that feel sudden. You may be experiencing shifts that you did not expect. Things that once felt stable may now feel uncertain. But do not mistake this for instability. This is restructuring. This is the clearing of space so that something greater can take its place. Because when cords are cut, they do not just release you from the past, they also restore your energy. They return your focus. They free your spirit to move forward without resistance. And this is when new things begin to enter your life, not as replacements, but as alignments. You may find yourself drawn to new ideas, new environments, even new people. You may feel a sense of peace where there was once tension. You may notice that your reactions are changing, that things which once triggered you no longer have the same effect. These are not small changes. These are signs that you are becoming who you were meant to be all along. But here is something important to remember. Transformation does not always happen all at once. It unfolds step by step, layer by layer. There may still be moments where you question what is happening. There may still be times where you feel the urge to look back. This is natural. But do not let those moments define your direction. Keep moving forward. Trust that every shift you are experiencing is leading you somewhere intentional. Trust that even the parts you do not fully understand are working together for your good. And most importantly, trust that you are not going through this alone. Archangel Michael remains present, not just at the threshold, but throughout this entire process. His role is not only to cut away what no longer belongs. His role is to protect what is being built within you. He stands as a guardian of your transformation, ensuring that what is meant for you reaches you without interference. So if things feel different, it is because they are. If you feel like you are changing, it is because you are. This is not something to fear. This is something to embrace. Because on the other side of this transformation is a version of your life that is no longer weighed down by the past. A life where you can move freely, think clearly, and receive fully what has been prepared for you. And that is what makes this moment so powerful. It is not just about what is being removed. It is about what is finally being revealed. There is something profound that must now be understood, because what lies ahead of you is not just a simple improvement of your current life. It is a complete shift into a new dimension of living. When God prepares abundance for you, it does not arrive in fragments or partial measures. It comes as a fullness, a state of alignment where every area of your life begins to reflect peace, clarity, and purpose. But abundance has often been misunderstood. Many believe it is limited to material gain, to visible success, or to outward achievements that can be measured. But true abundance begins within. It is the quiet confidence that replaces doubt. It is the deep peace that remains steady even when circumstances shift. It is the clarity that allows you to move forward without confusion or hesitation. And from that inner alignment, everything else begins to flow. This is what is being prepared for you now. Behind every delay you experienced, there was unseen preparation taking place. While you were waiting, questioning, even struggling to understand why things were not moving as you expected, something was being arranged beyond your awareness. Connections were being aligned. Opportunities were being positioned. Even your own heart was being shaped to receive what is coming next. Because abundance is not just about receiving, it is about being ready to receive. If certain things had entered your life too early, they would have been weighed down by the very cords that are now being cut. They would have been influenced by the patterns that are now being broken. And instead of bringing you fulfillment, they would have created more confusion. This is why timing matters. This is why the process you are in right now is essential. You are not being delayed. You are being prepared. And as this preparation reaches completion, you will begin to notice a difference in how things unfold. What once required struggle will begin to feel natural. What once felt out of reach will begin to come toward you with ease. This is not because life suddenly becomes effortless, but because you are now aligned with what has already been set in motion for you. Abundance flows where there is alignment. You will begin to recognize that the things entering your life carry a different energy. They will not demand that you compromise who you are. They will not create confusion or emotional exhaustion. Instead, they will feel clear, steady, and purposeful. You will sense a quiet certainty within yourself, a knowing that does not need constant reassurance. This is how you will know you have crossed into your new season. Relationships will begin to reflect mutual respect and understanding. Opportunities will feel like natural extensions of your purpose rather than forced efforts to prove your worth. Even your own thoughts will begin to support you instead of working against you. The inner conflict that once existed will start to dissolve, replaced by a sense of direction that feels both calm and strong. And perhaps most importantly, you will begin to experience a level of peace that you did not think was possible. Not a temporary peace that comes and goes, but a grounded, lasting peace that remains even when life presents challenges. This is the kind of abundance that cannot be taken from you, because it is rooted in alignment rather than circumstance. But remember this: abundance requires space. It cannot fully enter a life that is still crowded with what no longer belongs. This is why the cutting had to happen first. This is why the cords had to be removed. Because what is coming next needs room to grow, to expand, and to establish itself without interference from the past. You are being positioned to receive without limitation. And as you step closer to this new season, there may still be moments where you question whether you are truly ready. You may wonder if you have done enough, if you have let go completely, if you can fully sustain what is coming. But these questions do not define your readiness. Your willingness to move forward is what matters. Because readiness is not perfection, it is alignment. And right now, you are aligning. Everything that has happened up to this point has been guiding you here. Every release, every shift, every moment of clarity has been preparing you to stand in this place where abundance is no longer something distant. It is something present, something real, something within reach. So do not shrink back now. Do not doubt what is unfolding. This is not the time to question your worth or your ability to receive. This is the time to open your heart, to stand firmly in your transformation, and to allow what has been prepared to finally enter your life. Because what is ahead of you is not ordinary. It is the fulfillment of something that has been waiting for you for a very long time. There are signs that begin to appear when the cutting has already started, and if you pay close attention, you will realize that this process is not something far away. It is already unfolding in your life. The shifts you have been experiencing are not random. They are not coincidences. They are evidence that something spiritual is actively moving, aligning you with what has been prepared for you. One of the first signs is sudden change. Things that once felt stable may have shifted without warning. Situations you thought were certain may have taken unexpected turns. At first, this can feel unsettling. You may have asked yourself why something ended so quickly or why something you relied on no longer feels the same. But this is often the first movement of the sword, removing what cannot remain in your next season. Another sign is emotional release. You may have felt waves of emotion rising within you, sometimes without a clear reason. Old memories may have resurfaced. Feelings you thought you had already dealt with may have come back to the surface. This is not regression. This is exposure. What was hidden is being brought into the light so it can be fully released. Suppressed emotions cannot be carried into a new season. They must be acknowledged and let go. There is also a growing sense of detachment. Things that once held your attention, your energy, or your focus may no longer feel as important. Conversations that once engaged you may now feel draining. Environments that once felt comfortable may now feel restrictive. This is not you losing interest. It is you outgrowing what no longer aligns with your direction. And then there is clarity. Moments where you suddenly understand something that once confused you. Realizations that come without effort, as if a veil hath been lifted. You begin to see people, situations, and even yourself differently. This clarity is not forced. It arrives naturally, as a result of the cords being cut and your perception being restored. You may also notice a stronger pull toward stillness, a desire to step back, to reflect, to be alone with your thoughts. This is not isolation. It is recalibration. Your spirit is adjusting to the changes taking place, creating space for new understanding to settle within you. In these moments of stillness, you are being realigned from within. All of these signs point to one truth: the process has already begun. And yet, even with these signs, there may be moments where you question what is happening. You may wonder if you are imagining it, if these changes are temporary, or if you should try to return to what once felt certain. But this is where trust becomes essential, because once the cutting begins, the path forward is already set. Trying to return to what has been removed will only create confusion. Trying to rebuild what has been dismantled will only delay what is meant to come next. This is why it is important to recognize these signs for what they are, not disruptions, but confirmations. You are not being undone. You are being redirected. Archangel Michael's presence in this process ensures that what is happening is not chaotic. Every shift, every release, every moment of clarity is guided. You are being led through this transition with precision, even if it does not always feel that way in the moment. So when things change suddenly, do not panic. When emotions rise, do not suppress them. When you feel the need to step back, honor it. These are all part of the process that is moving you closer to your new season. And understand this: what you are experiencing now is something many resist. Many people ignore these signs, trying to hold on to what feels familiar. But you are being given the awareness to recognize what is happening, and that awareness is a gift. It allows you to move with the process instead of against it. Type "I trust the shift" in the comments if you can feel this transformation taking place within you. Blessing code 5521 has now been released into your life. And as you recognize these signs, hear this deeply. This message is not only for you. It is for countless others who are still confused by the very shifts you now understand. When you choose to support this mission, you become part of a greater movement that brings clarity, freedom, and light into lives that are still searching. The word speaks, "Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy," and this is being declared over you even now. I feel this strongly. As I step into my new season, I release a seed that helps others find theirs. Let that be your action in this moment. Your giving becomes a bridge for someone else to cross their own threshold. Your obedience becomes a spark that ignites transformation in another soul. There is a PayPal link waiting in the description and a QR code placed before you. Do not hesitate when your spirit is being stirred. Step into this act with boldness and faith. As you give, may every area of your life begin to align with divine abundance, and may doors open for you that no one can close. You are part of something greater than yourself, and your response in this moment carries power. Now that you recognize the signs, the question is no longer whether something is happening. The question is how you will respond to it. Because in every divine transition, there is a role that only you can play. Archangel Michael may stand with authority, the sword may be raised, and heaven may be moving on your behalf. But your willingness to cooperate with this process determines how smoothly you step into your new season. Cooperation in this moment does not require force. It requires awareness and intentional alignment. The first step is awareness. You must remain present with what is unfolding within and around you. Do not dismiss the changes you feel. Do not ignore the clarity that is rising. When something no longer feels aligned, acknowledge it. When a truth becomes clear, accept it. Awareness is what keeps you connected to the guidance being given to you. Many people delay their transformation not because they are unworthy, but because they choose to look away from what is being revealed. But you are being called to stay present, to see clearly, and to move forward with understanding. The second step is surrender. This is where many struggle, because surrender is often misunderstood as weakness or loss of control. But in reality, surrender is alignment with a higher wisdom. It is the decision to trust that what is being removed is not meant to harm you, but to position you correctly. Surrender means releasing the need to control outcomes. It means allowing the process to unfold without constantly questioning it. It means letting go of the need to hold on to things that your spirit already knows are no longer right for you. This is not about giving up. It is about letting go of what is already leaving. And then comes intentional alignment. This is where your actions begin to reflect the shift that is taking place within you. It is not enough to feel the change. You must also choose it. When you are guided to step away from something, follow that guidance. When you feel drawn toward something new, explore it. When your inner voice tells you to rest, to reflect, or to move forward, listen to it. Alignment is built through small, consistent choices. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you are aligning. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you are aligning. Every time you choose to move forward instead of looking back, you are aligning. These choices may seem simple, but they carry powerful momentum. And as you align, you begin to notice something remarkable. Things start to flow differently. Opportunities begin to appear at the right time. Conversations begin to carry deeper meaning. Even your own thoughts begin to support your growth instead of resisting it. This is not coincidence. This is the result of you moving in harmony with what has already been prepared for you. But there is also something important to guard against during this time. Do not rush the process. There may be a temptation to move quickly, to try to reach the outcome as soon as possible. But divine timing cannot be forced. Each step in this process serves a purpose, and skipping ahead will only create imbalance. Trust the pace at which things are unfolding. What is meant for you will not miss you. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. And in this space of cooperation, something deeper begins to form within you, a sense of trust that is no longer fragile, a confidence that does not depend on external validation, a peace that remains steady even when things are still shifting. This is the foundation of your new season. Archangel Michael's role is not only to cut away what no longer belongs, but also to guard what is being established within you. As you cooperate with this process, you are not walking alone. You are being guided, protected, and positioned with intention. To stay aware, surrender fully, align your actions with what you know to be true. Because every step you take in cooperation with this process brings you closer to a life that is no longer defined by the past, but fully aligned with the abundance that has been waiting for you. And as you continue forward, you will begin to see that this is not just a moment of change. It is the beginning of a completely new way of living. There is something you must be warned about in this moment, because not every pull you feel is meant to be followed. As the cords of the past are being cut and your life begins to realign, there may come an unexpected temptation, a quiet invitation to revisit what has already been removed. It may not appear harmful at first. In fact, it may even feel familiar, comforting, or unfinished. But you must recognize this for what it truly is. It is the echo of what no longer belongs to you. When something hath been divinely removed, it does not always disappear without attempting to reconnect. Old patterns have a way of resurfacing. Past relationships may try to re-enter your life. Situations you thought were over may suddenly present themselves again, as if asking for your attention one more time. This is not coincidence. This is a test of alignment. You are not being punished. You are being shown how far you have come. But this is where many people lose their progress. They mistake familiarity for purpose. They interpret the reappearance of the past as a sign that it still holds value in their future. And without realizing it, they begin to rebuild connections that were already broken for a reason. You must not fall into this pattern. What was removed was not taken lightly. It was cut with intention, with clarity, and with full awareness of where your life is meant to go. To return to it now would not restore what you had. It would only reintroduce the weight that was already lifted from you. And here is the truth that may be difficult to accept. Some doors close permanently. Not because you failed, not because something went wrong, but because those doors were never meant to lead you into your next season. They served their purpose, and once that purpose was fulfilled, they were meant to remain closed. But the mind often romanticizes the past. It highlights the moments that felt good while minimizing the reasons things had to change. It creates a version of the past that feels safer, simpler, and more appealing than it truly was. And if you are not careful, you may begin to question the very release that was meant to free you. This is why clarity is so important in this moment. Remember what you have already seen. Remember what you have already felt. Remember the patterns that repeated, the heaviness that lingered, the limitations that held you back. These things were not imagined. They were real. And they are the very reasons the cutting had to happen. Do not allow temporary emotions to rewrite permanent truths. Archangel Michael stands as a guardian not only at your threshold, but also along your path. His presence is there to help you discern what is aligned and what is not. But you must be willing to listen. You must be willing to trust that what hath been removed does not need to be revisited. Because every time you choose to let go again, you strengthen your alignment. Every time you resist the urge to go back, you move forward with greater clarity. And every time you honor the direction you are being led, you reinforce the foundation of your new season. This is not about denying your past. It is about refusing to be controlled by it. You can acknowledge what was without returning to it. You can learn from it without reconnecting to it. You can appreciate what it taught you without allowing it to define your future. This is maturity. This is growth. This is alignment. And as you continue forward, you will begin to notice that the pull of the past weakens. What once felt strong and persistent will begin to lose its influence. The desire to go back will fade, replaced by a deeper sense of purpose and direction. This is how you know you are moving correctly. But you must remain aware. Do not become careless just because you feel stronger. Stay grounded in what you have learned. Stay connected to the clarity you have received. Because the moment you lose awareness is the moment confusion can return. You have come too far to go back now. The path ahead of you is clear, even if it is still unfolding. The life that is being prepared for you requires your full presence, your full commitment, and your full alignment. There is no space for divided attention between where you are going and where you have been. So when the past calls, do not answer. When old doors try to reopen, do not walk through them. Stand firm in your direction. Trust the process that has brought you this far, and continue moving forward with the quiet confidence that what lies ahead is far greater than anything you have left behind. There comes a moment in every divine transition where everything within you becomes still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything has aligned. This is the moment of crossing. It does not always arrive with noise or dramatic signs. In fact, it often comes quietly, almost gently, like a door opening without resistance. And yet, it marks one of the most powerful shifts you will ever experience. You begin to notice it in subtle ways at first. The heaviness you once carried is no longer there. The mental noise that once clouded your thoughts begins to fade. Situations that used to trigger you now feel distant, as if they no longer have access to you. It is not that your life has suddenly become perfect. It is that you have changed. You are no longer standing in the same place internally, and that changes everything externally. This is what it feels like to cross into a new season. Clarity becomes your new normal. You no longer feel the need to question every decision or second-guess your path. There is a quiet confidence that begins to guide you, not loud or forceful, but steady and certain. You start to trust yourself in a way you never fully did before. And this trust is not based on past experiences. It is rooted in alignment. Peace also begins to settle within you. Not the temporary kind that comes and goes depending on circumstances, but a deeper peace that remains even when things around you are still unfolding. You begin to understand that peace is not something you chase, it is something you carry. And once it is established within you, it influences everything else in your life. Relationships begin to shift in a natural way. You are no longer drawn to what once drained you. Conversations feel different. Connections become more meaningful, more balanced, more aligned with who you are now. You may find that certain people fade out of your life without conflict, while others enter with a sense of ease and familiarity that feels right. This is not coincidence. This is alignment attracting alignment. Even your perspective changes. You no longer see challenges as obstacles meant to stop you. Instead, you begin to see them as part of the process, as moments that refine you rather than define you. Fear begins to lose its hold on you, not because it disappears completely, but because it no longer controls your decisions. You move forward despite it, guided by something stronger within you. This is the evidence that you have crossed the threshold, and as you stand in this new space, you begin to realize something profound. You are no longer carrying the past with you. The cords that once held you have been cut. The weight that once slowed you down has been lifted, and in its place, there is a sense of freedom that allows you to move without resistance. But crossing into a new season is not just about what you leave behind. It is also about what you step into. You begin to notice opportunities appearing with a different energy. They do not feel forced or complicated. They align naturally with your direction. You feel prepared for them, even if they are new. There is a sense that everything is unfolding at the right time, in the right way, without the struggle you once experienced. This is the beginning of living in alignment with what has been prepared for you. And through it all, Archangel Michael remains present, not as a distant figure, but as a steady guardian of this new space you have entered. His role does not end with the cutting of cords. He continues to stand with you, ensuring that what has been established remains protected, that what has been aligned continues to flow without interference. You are not walking into this new season alone. You are walking with guidance, with protection, and with a clarity that will continue to grow as you move forward. And the more you trust this process, the more you will see how everything that has happened was leading you here. This is not just a new chapter. This is a new way of living. A life where you are no longer reacting to the past, but responding to the present with awareness and intention. A life where you are no longer held back by what was, but fully engaged with what is becoming. A life where abundance is not something distant, but something you are now able to receive and sustain. So stand fully in this moment. Recognize how far you have come. Acknowledge the transformation that has taken place within you, and step forward with the quiet certainty that you are exactly where you are meant to be. Because this crossing was not sluchikaki, it was destined. Beloved soul, now everything becomes still in the most beautiful way. Not empty, not uncertain, but calm, grounded, and filled with a quiet knowing that something sacred has just taken place in your life. You have crossed the threshold. The moment that once felt distant, the shift that once felt uncertain, has now become your reality. Take a breath and feel this. The weight that once followed you is no longer attached. The cords that once pulled at your spirit have been cut. The confusion that once clouded your path has been cleared. And in its place there is a gentle peace, a peace that does not demand anything from you but simply rests within you. This is what it feels like when heaven has moved on your behalf. You are no longer standing at the edge. You are standing within the new season that was prepared for you long before you even understood what was happening. And as you stand here now, there is no need to rush, no need to prove, no need to question whether you belong here. You belong here, Everything that has unfolded, the release, the cutting, the shifting, the moments of uncertainty, all of it was leading you to this place of alignment. And now that you are here, you are allowed to rest in it. You are allowed to trust it. You are allowed to receive what is already beginning to unfold around you. Archangel Michael still stands with you, but now his presence feels different. The sword that once cut away the past is no longer raised in intensity. It rests as a symbol of protection. You are not being prepared anymore. You are being established, guarded, governed. There is nothing chasing you anymore, nothing pulling you backward. Only a path ahead that is opening with clarity and purpose. And as you walk forward, you will begin to notice how life meets you differently. Doors will open without struggle. Peace will remain even in moments that once would have shaken you. You will carry a strength that does not need to be proven, because it is rooted in everything you have already overcome. This is your new rhythm. A life where you are no longer surviving, but living with intention. A life where you are no longer bound, but free to move in alignment with what has been prepared for you. A life where abundance is not something you chase, but something that flows naturally into your experience. So do not look back now. Not with regret. Not with doubt. Not with curiosity about what could have been. Because what is ahead of you is far greater than anything behind you. And what has been removed was never meant to walk this path with you. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Let this truth settle within you. Let it bring you peace. Let it remind you that you are guided, protected, and deeply aligned with a purpose that is still unfolding in beautiful ways. And as you continue forward, carry this awareness with you. You did not arrive here by chance. You were led here. Every step, every release, every moment of trust brought you into this new season. Type "I walk in my NEW season" in the comments if you receive this with your whole heart. Blessing code 8884 is now activated over your life. And as this peace settles into your spirit, hear this final calling, this message, this moment, this transformation is not meant to stay with you alone. There are souls still standing at their threshold, still bound by the cords you have just been freed from, still waiting for light to reach them. The word is alive and speaking even now. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and see if I will not open the windows of heaven. This is not distant scripture. It is a living invitation being placed in your hands. I feel this deeply. As I walk in my new season, I become a vessel to lead others into theirs. Let that be your response right now. When you give, you are not losing. You are releasing a seed into fertile ground where lives are changed, chains are broken, and truth is revealed. There is a PayPal link in the description and a QR code placed before you. Step into this moment without hesitation. Let your giving become a prophetic act of alignment. As you sow, may heaven respond over your life with overflow, protection, and divine increase that multiplies beyond what you expect. Do not wait. Act in faith. Step forward in obedience. And watch how everything continues to unfold in your favor.